Okay, we are in the Conor Khabib fight right early on in the fight, 4:47, and I'm going to talk what I see in this. I disagree with some things that are said by other people, and they'll disagree with me, and we'll all have different ideas on this. But I'm just going to take you through this with my interpretation of what's going on from Khabib's point of view and from Conor's point of view. So. Conor's been doing his usual thing of keeping Khabib at distance with a straight arm. We're going to get out to now this point here where Khabib's made a huge distance away from Conor. Conor's going to go to the centre of the cage. That's what he's been told to do. He doesn't want to be behind these black lines with Khabib in front of him. So at this range, what Khabib is going to do is he's going to change level. And he's going to shoot for Conor's lead leg. So he's going to shoot for Conor's lead leg here. He's miles out. Now, I've heard the argument that Conor wasn't quick enough to put his frame out and all that kind of stuff. Conor is a superb athlete. If he wanted to stick that frame out there onto that head, he would have done, okay? What Conor is doing is Conor's looking at Khabib's head. And what he's drilled, I think, I could be wrong, but what he's drilled, I think, is he's going to throw this knee in and kick this leg back as a sprawl, okay? And, you know, it could work. He is so accurate with his strikes that this could land. So Khabib could be in all sorts of trouble, okay? So I don't think Conor's thinking about sprawling too hard on this or framing on this. I think he's thinking about taking Khabib's head off with his knee. So let's go a little bit forward, and we see that knee coming. Now look at Conor. He's looking directly at that target, and it lands on Khabib's neck. Yeah, I think a lot of it's deflected by Khabib's right arm, and it's mainly the thigh that makes contact, but that could have been game over, and that would have been a superb win for Conor. That would have been a fantastic win. But as he connects with the knee, he wants to kick the leg that Khabib is going for out, but Khabib has managed to get his hands to the ankle. You can see there that he's got his hands to the ankle. It's lucky, or is it unlucky? I mean, if my athlete landed like this, I'd be like in despair, you know, especially when he's so dry and stuff. But what we're going to basically see now is we're going to see Khabib slowly climb up the leg as a counter to everything that Conor does. Conor and his team, I think, have been watching the film of Khabib and how he pokes his head out around the corner, how he turns the corners to try and get to the back of his opponent. So Conor is going to do everything to stop that. So at the moment, Khabib is in like one of the worst positions that I could imagine as a wrestler. He's on the wrong leg. He can't reach through to get to a double leg. He's knackered. So what's he going to do? So let's see what he does. Conor's got a straight post on the back of his head. He's now going in here. He's like got a hand on the knee or into the hip. He's in a really devastating control position. So we'll see what happens. So the first thing that Khabib does is he starts to withdraw slightly, all right? And as he starts to withdraw slightly, Conor is going to do what I think he's been taught to do, which is go to a sprawl position. So he's going to take his body and he's going to line it up with Khabib's body. He's been told, or they've seen the film, or he knows that what he doesn't want to do is let Khabib's head get out here so that he can turn and take his back. So what he's going to do is he's going to lock onto the body here and stop Khabib being able to turn out onto that. What Khabib is going to do in response is he's going to sit back because he knows that Conor's hips are sort of loaded up on his shoulder. He's going to sit back, he's going to hold the ankle with both hands, and he's going to lift his head into the corner of this knee, behind this knee, which, because Conor has no weight on a sprawl out here, will sit Conor on his bum. So it does sit Conor on his bum. Come on. I can't get the thingy. So it does sit Conor on his bum as Khabib sits back. Right? So we see him sit Conor on his bum. So at this moment in time, he's got control of the ankle. Conor's done a very good job. He's got his hand deep in on the hip. It's all dry. And what this means is that he can quickly maybe extricate this leg and get his hip out and maybe go back to a sprawl position. We'll see what does actually happen. He sat himself on his bum. Khabib now wants to get this leg to the ground as quick as he can. He wants to get this leg down, and he's already starting to climb up this leg. Now this is beautiful because what he's going to do is he's going to maintain the grip on this ankle here, and he's going to put his hand on the back of this knee. That means that when Conor tries to straighten up or tries to bring his hips back to that sprawl position, it's going to bring Conor to his knees in front of him. So what we can see here is he's keeping this leg under control, nice and straight, and he's already got this hand to the back of the knee. Again, we see Khabib trying to turn this corner. He wants to run his hips around out here and change direction. Maybe at this point, he could have got his other hand to the hip for a double leg. But at this moment in time, he's sticking with a single leg. He's pulling this leg in this direction, and he's going to drive with his head, which in most cases would drive the person to the floor. But with Conor, with his superb balance and his flexibility, and the fact that he's hooked onto the body like this, Conor is stopping him being able to turn that corner. And we can see that even though that Khabib is pulling on the ankle, he's stopping Conor turning that. He's stopping Khabib turning that corner. He's turning with him all the time. So Khabib's response to this now is to build a base underneath himself again. So he's going to lift Conor up, and he's going to try and go higher with his grips. So now he's loading Conor onto his shoulder. This is, for me, is incredible. He's slowly climbing up the wrong leg. I mean, in wrestling, really, he's on the wrong leg, but he's doing a great job. He's just climbing up this. He's collapsing this knee. Now, Conor is doing everything right. He's keeping that hip in there. He's ready to sprawl. TJ Dillashaw is an expert in this position where he will actually allow this single leg to take him down, but he'll use the oil check position to bring himself up on top and take the back. So Conor is now going to sprawl. And as he sprawls, he shoots his hips out in this direction, which collapses Khabib. Now, normally what we would try and see here is we would try and see like an oil check position with this hand here, and he would slowly build a base with this hand on the back of the head and rubber leg his leg out. What Khabib is going to do to stop that happening is this is amazing, he's going to just slightly lift his hips, which is going to create enough space for he's going to let Conor get this leg out of this grip. Okay, this is bonkers, right? So he lifts his hip, which allows Conor to get that foot out of that grip. Okay, and now what Khabib has done is it's created enough space so that he can trap Conor's heel with his bicep and his elbow, and now he's got this hand free. I think, personally, where he wants to go is he wants to come up and grab deeper on this hip. But we'll see what actually happens, okay? Because of Conor's perfect balance, he controls that foot. Can you see that? That's amazing. He's holding the heel. He's locking that into his chest. He's locking his shoulders into the hips. Conor strikes in order to, hopefully get Khabib to let go of something. Khabib isn't going to let go of him. He's like a pit bull. He gets a bonk on the head, and now we're going to see Khabib's response to this. He's folded that leg in, so that leg can't be straightened and he can't turn. So we'll see Khabib now slowly move towards the camera, and he's going to attempt a blocking roll here. So what he wants to do is he wants to get his bicep and elbow above the elbow of Conor, and he wants to roll onto this side and roll Conor over. Now, Conor's not going to allow that because his weight's over here. He's strong enough to stop it. But let's look at the little tiny details of what he does at this point, okay? Because he's going to pull on this knee, which he's going to pull the knee in this direction. Watch what he does with this leg as he brings it in. He goes over the top of the arm, but watch his right leg now. He brings it in and he traps the arm to make it easier for the roll. Little tiny detail, beautiful little tiny detail, okay? He goes for it kind of, realizes that it's not going to happen because of Conor's sprawl, and he goes back to the leg. And okay, he's now climbing back up the leg. What's his next option? Well, he's grabbed hold of the wrist. Okay, normally he goes to this C grip or this S grip, as we would say, but now he's grabbed the wrist and he's pulling that bar in so that the bar runs from the heel along the leg to the knee. All right, still wants to turn the corner. He's not going to be able to turn the corner. So his next option is to build a base and lift Conor up. Conor at this point realizes that Khabib is climbing up his leg. So what he wants to do is he wants to get a post on the back of Khabib's head, and he wants to start trying to rubber leg his leg out of here. What this is going to effectively do, though, it's going to effectively allow Khabib to get to his feet. So he starts to post. Khabib keeps locked in behind the knee with his right arm, but he posts with his left. Now, this holding the knee is kind of an effective technique, but what it's actually going to do, it's going to allow Khabib to stand up with that leg. He's actually going to allow Khabib to go into the control position with that foot. So as Conor pulls that in, that literally allows him to stand up. Okay, we'll just go back a little bit. So he bases out, it allows him to stand up. The push on the back of the head is annoying for Khabib, but the power now is being based out through this post. He's going to bring his left leg underneath himself, and he's going to just start to stand up. So as he stands up, he now wants to turn the corner again, okay? I don't really know what Conor is doing with his hand down here. I think he's just locking on so that Khabib can't turn the corner. But really, it's his balance and his hand on the head which is stopping Khabib turning the corner. I mean, if we look at the whole balance thing, this is beautiful. His balance, he's hooked onto this leg and he's pivoting in this direction, which is stopping Khabib do his normal takedowns. So we can see here, he's stopping the normal takedowns. So Khabib's response to this is to spin him round in this direction, and then he's going to whip this leg through for a cut single leg. Okay, so he pipes the thigh against his chest, and then he's going to whip the leg through in front of his body and sit Conor down. Or he's going to attempt to do that. So he whips and he sits Conor down. Now, the thing that Khabib has done at this point is he's used all his force to do this. So he's literally thrown himself at the floor. And because of this, Conor can drive and take a horrific mount. I mean, imagine Conor was looking to take Khabib's back at this point. Imagine if it was a Gordon Ryan or a Gary Tonin or someone who didn't want to get up and punch Khabib, who just wanted to take his back. This would be perfect. If this was Marcelo Garcia, this would be over. He's got one leg hooked in on his arm. That hook would go in, the other hook would go in, and it'd be awful. But some miraculous way, I mean, I don't know how he does this. This is just incredible. Khabib is actually going to power that arm forward and swing Khabib off him. Swing Conor, not Khabib, off him and turn his body. Yeah, so he's taken Conor's hip, put it on his shoulder, and now he's re-pivoted back underneath, and he's gone to controlling the leg at a much higher point. Absolutely amazing. It just shows in wrestling that backing out is just as much of importance as going forward. So, I mean, absolutely incredible. Now, again, Conor's doing what we're taught. So he's trying to lift the ankle off the floor, which is trying to stop this foot getting to the floor. But Khabib is going to do what all the great Russian wrestlers do, which is instead of driving forward, which will lift this ankle, he actually starts to take his weight back and lift his knee. He'll put the side of his foot on the ground, and he'll use that drive to actually stand up. Absolutely beautiful. Do you know what I mean? He's just, instead of having that ankle lifted, he's actually using that to allow himself to get up. If we look down here, we're now on a wrist grip. He's gripping, and he's got it much tighter into his body. So he's slowly climbed up Conor's leg until he's got to this point. Conor, again, is going for the rubber leg, and he's not allowing Khabib to turn the corner. Khabib brings the leg up, and he's now trying for his famous leg sweep. Normally he gets it with people, but he's going to chase Conor around. Conor's going to hop around with his beautiful, beautiful balletic grace. And really what Khabib wants is he wants to drag this knee up to make a fulcrum and get Conor to step his leg in. So we can see this is amazing from Conor. So he's lifted that leg and he's dragged Conor's foot in. So Conor really at this point should have been swept. I mean, how he didn't, I really don't know. Khabib must have had to maintain his base or something. It's incredible. Because normally at this point, especially here, this would have been reaped. Conor would have been on his head. But I think what's happened is Khabib has already changed his mind at what he's going to do. He's got this foot across the body, so he knows that if he changes direction, he can cut that knee past his body again, change direction, and bring Conor down to the floor using his shoulder pressure into the hip. It's piping it again, but he's cutting the leg across. It's actually his most basic single leg takedown that he uses, and he gets it. Boom. Now, the problem for Conor at this point is we can see how far up Conor's body Khabib is now. He's not got his body weight over the top of Khabib. He's not really got any pressure down on the head. This hip is next to this hand. So, basically, now what we can see is that Khabib is going to turn the corner. He's going to try and turn the corner. Conor's doing everything he can to try and get his hip away from Khabib. But Khabib has slowly snuck up his leg and has managed to block the opposite hip. And now it's just a matter of time. He's going to knee tap him. So he's going to bring this hand down and he's going to lift the opposite knee, which he's going to sit Conor on his bum. He has to post over here to stop being put flat. And then he's going to suck his legs in and just drive him to the cage. Okay. So, what I've done there is I've broken down that first takedown, right from what I think was a thrown knee on purpose, right down to the actual finish, which was like a knee tap double leg. Absolutely gorgeous. I'd be interested to see what you think is different. I've tried to stay away from using wrestling language and just trying to use more sort of language that everyone uses. So hopefully it's easy to understand. It's beautiful. Conor did exceptionally well, but Khabib just crawls up that leg until he gets to your hips. And once he gets to your hips, I don't think you have anything. I mean, Khabib, he got mounted at one point. He should have had his back taken. That first initial shot, anybody else on the planet would have been knackered from it. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant, beautiful things. If you can do that crawling up the leg thing, brilliant. Good luck with it.